Well, this kind of sprung up on us pretty fast. We have a listener / top fan from one of our social medias, Mr. Madison here. And he also runs his own YouTube channel where he goes about being an A&P, and he talks about a lot of topics very similar to what our podcast does. And what really struck us was how he mentioned how some of the stuff that we talk about enabled him to continue doing what he does. Because let's face it, we mentioned this in the episode with Stig in Stig Aviation about how sometimes the aviation industry just drains you, just really sucks the life out of you. So when we hear stories like our guest Madison here, or our co-op host Madison here, we hear stuff about how we can help boost people up and help them strengthen their why. And that's something that we collectively want to talk about. And we kind of sort of hint at it in each of our episodes, as pointed out by Madison again, that we want to kind of discuss about your why and resilience. And I didn't mean to take away y'all's thunder about this. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we had a conversation. Madison, why don't you give us everybody kind of a rundown, a little bit of your history, who you are, and then we can dive back into what we were discussing here prior to well, at least us hitting record.
Yeah, guys. I mean, I've been an aviation nut for as long as I can remember. I kind of blame my parents. They sponsored the Portland Air Show when I was really little, and so I got to go watch airplanes all the time. By 16, I took my first flight, and I wanted nothing to do with anything other than airplanes. So I made the super smart decision of joining the Army. I went in as a Chinook mechanic, and I did my 6 years and decided that I wanted to pursue aviation outside of the military. So I took a contracting job doing the same thing I was doing before and got my license shortly after that. And during my contracting time, I found that a lot of my friends were they were trying to figure out how to get out and continue in aviation. So I started a little coaching and YouTube channel during that time, and just before the pandemic hit. And then when I got back, I kind of abandoned the project. I went to work as at a little FBO. I picked up aviation work wherever I could. Bought myself a little house on the airport, but I just couldn't find another why to continue with what I was doing. I had sort of lost that reason to pursue that original dream of helping others get through their careers and navigate the difficulties of the industry. And I was just browsing podcasts, trying to find more aviation related or maintenance related ones recently. And I found you guys, and it just really reignited that spark. And I rebooted my channel. I've started coaching again a little bit, and it's just been a really great time at finally realizing that, that why never really went away. I just needed to recognize it again and start really paying attention to it and figuring out what happened to make me forget about my why.
And so what was that answer? What made you forget the why?
It was really just, I came home and I went out to where I was contracting at the beginning of the pandemic. I got stuck out there for 367 days straight because all travel was halted. And then I came home and I just had so much to fix around the house. I was trying to find work, and I didn't think that I had the time or the ability. And I really started questioning my ability to continue doing what I was doing. I hadn't really done a whole lot with it before the pandemic kind of shut everything off, and I really had nowhere to go with it. And then I got home and got to work in an environment that really had a terrible manager. There's a guy who's been in aviation for 55 plus years, general aviation guy, but he didn't know how to play well in the sandbox with other people. And I was looking for more aviation stuff to re-immerse myself in that culture. And I found you guys, and a couple of your episodes really helped me through some rough days with this guy. He'd throw tantrums like a 3-year-old and then threaten to quit and then come back. He'd storm out in the middle of the day and come back and then expect you to have done what you were supposed to do or what he thought he had told you to do, but he hadn't said anything except that you were wrong and I'm leaving, I'm quitting.
You know,
it was ridiculous.
This rings such a bell right now.
As I tell you, as I get older, if people play that game, I'll call your bluff. Bye. You know.
Yeah.
Bye. See you later.
I straight up. There was one day I told him because he was yelling at me because apparently we were sanding down a cowling for a Baron to repaint it, and I wasn't soaping it up and washing it off the way he said I should be, and he started yelling at me about it.
Well, was it the way the manual says to do it, or the way he prefers to do it his own specific way? Because Six and I have ran into this where we've talked about this very recently, where, well, you'll always be wrong because you didn't do it the way that I would have specifically done it. Like, okay, well then why would I even try?
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the way this guy operated. You know, the great thing about general aviation is that the manuals are so vague.
Yes.
Removing the cowling just says, okay, remove the cowling. All right. How? Just do it. Okay. I guess if I break something, I'll fix it later. But, you know, he had 55 years working on these specific airframes, and he had developed his own methods for doing things. And if you weren't doing it the way he did it, or if he thought you were doing his method not correctly, you got yelled at. And I told him that yelling at me was not going to solve the problem. And it's just making the company look bad because there is people at the, there's people fueling their airplanes. There's guys in the FBO just on the other side of the hangar door that are trying to take lessons from the CFIs. You know, this is not an appropriate time or an appropriate reaction. And I said, if you're going to continue acting this way, I will just leave because I can't provide a safe product. I cannot guarantee to the flight instructors and the owner of this FBO that what I turn out under these conditions is going to be safe. And I grabbed my stuff. He tried to call my bluff, and I walked out, told the owner of the FBO, I said, I can't work like this. He needs to change some things up or you'll be one mechanic short. And I happened to forget my keys. So I walked back to from my car to my toolbox to grab my keys, and he intercepts me in the parking lot. And this is the one and only time he'd ever apologized. And he told me that he couldn't do the work without me. And I said, well, then you got to change some stuff. And he didn't. So I left. I quit. I was there another month, and I just said, you know what? I can't guarantee that this aircraft is going to be safe when I sign it off. And that's my certificate on the line. I may be working under your IA because this school doesn't have their repair station certificate, but it's still my certificate number on this 100 hour or on this inspection. And if I miss something because of the way you are operating this side of the hangar door, then that's on me, not you. And I can't have that at the end of the day.
You know that you brought this up, and it gives me two prime examples about sources of your resilience. This is kind of going way back to like the initial fundamental training I've ever received on resilience. And I'll admit it was very blurry because it happened so long ago, but I remember there was two that really stuck out to me. And the first one was pushback. Like pushback is a source of resilience. Like it's the connections that you find that help you assert your confidence and advocate for yourself. An example was that, like, hey, this is getting out of hand. You're pushing into us for stuff that may cause an unsafe condition. And then the second one was the empathy piece, like connections that provide some kind of empathetic support so that you can release negative emotions, right? That kind of goes to when he cornered you into the parking lot, where he said for however sincere his apology was or not, he said it, and then instead of you just say, well, F your couch, I don't care, you've already exhausted every last bit of my patience because I'm at this level. Instead, you turn around and it's like, okay, let's make ends meet here and make some changes to actually be better, not just the better solutions just for me to move away and then let you falter and then possibly cause some other kind of problem in the future. Like,
right. And good on you for standing your ground and holding up to every time they mess up, oh, I'm sorry. And then just things continue on the way they are. And I said, I'm sorry. Yeah, but you said I'm sorry 16 times. Like, I don't believe you anymore.
Yeah.
It's just words at this point.
Yeah, we actually had an incident that scared me with that same Baron. The owner flew it home from Longview to Reno, Nevada, and he flew through the night. And it's an older Baron. Before they changed the design, where the landing gear and the flaps have the same paddle. They're all a paddle switch.
Okay.
And
yep.
A couple of years after that, they changed the design so you don't mix up the flaps and the gear. And he was having some trouble with the aircraft, breaking in 2 brand new engines. We threw 12 new cylinders on that aircraft, and he flew it home during the break-in period. And he gets about probably 50 nautical miles from home, and it's late. He's tired. And he's trying to clean up the aircraft while he's still taxiing down the runway, and he hits the gear switch instead of the flaps.
No.
And just bellies the aircraft with 2 essentially brand new engines. And the props were also new. But the blades weren't new, but the hubs were brand new, overhauled, because we had just done those last annual, and he probably spent $15,000 on this most recent annual, and he just basically totaled the aircraft because, and we got the text the next morning that the aircraft was dead, essentially. And I was like, first thing in my head was, what did I miss? What was it my fault?
Did you guys get inspected by the FAA at all?
No, surprisingly. I don't know whatever happened with that. Yeah.
That is surprising. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, like you said, hey, it's my name. I'm signing this off. This is my license and my ass on the line. So if I don't trust it, I ain't signing it. And I tell people that if you've never been under the investigation of the FAA, I have. That is not a fun time. That is, I am going to prison. I am going to this. Like, I'll never work again. I don't know. Because you don't really know what happened, right? You just heard, like what you heard. Oh, the aircraft's dead. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
What did I do? And you start running through right. And you can't work while you're under investigation. So you're just sitting there staring at the wall. You have to turn in your license for that time too, right? So
yeah,
you're just literally sitting there staring at the wall, waiting for a call to say you're going to the chair or you're free to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was surprised that we didn't hear anything about it. I think it's because he probably recognized that it was his fault. Because as soon as I heard that the aircraft belly, I thought, because we did a gear swing on it, we messed with the gear. I bled the system for the gear, and I changed the wheel valve, and I did a lot of stuff with that landing gear. So I thought, could I have done something? But then I talked to him later, and he goes, "No, it was my fault. I hit the wrong switch." So I'm wondering if the FAA, he just self-reported that he did it, and that's where the investigation stopped with his accident report.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but knowing the FAA, like I've known them, they typically don't stop there. That's it. I mean, I'm glad for you.
Yeah. Me too. Uh, I actually turned down some independent work because I don't have my IA yet. Uh, Living on this field, there's a lot of little Cessna owners that are like, I need my annual done before summer starts. And I'm like, well, you can, if you can find an IA, I'll open all the panels up because that's what I'm allowed to do. They're like, well, can't you just, do the annual? I could, but I couldn't sign it off. And they're like,
yeah.
How much do you want to sign it off? I'm like, if you want to pay for my bail, when you eventually wreck your airplane and the investigation comes back and they see that someone without an IA signed off your annual as airworthy, then let's go for it. But it's both our certificates at risk at that point. So go find yourself an IA.
Right. Well, here's what I would say. If I were you, start a GoFundMe with all your neighbors and have them pay for your IA.
Yeah. I've still got another year and a half before I can take the test, but I definitely will be asking neighbors for help with paying for my IA. There's plenty of people that own airplanes on this little tiny airstrip. There's at least 8 aircraft here on this 1,800 foot runway.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So I kind of want to focus a little bit about how you mentioned that you had some friends, yourself included, where you're having trouble. We've had a air quotes mission or a task or a purpose, and I think that's the biggest one. Like we all had a purpose, and it self actualizes itself, or it realizes itself very fast. Get this plane in the air because people need it and they need it now. Or say in the military sense, get this plane in the air because people are getting shot at, or people need to go from point A to Z really fast, and they need it now. So like, okay, cool, got it. And then even with the civilian world, it's not as intense, but it's there. And then somewhere along the lines, you kind of lose sight of that. And you mentioned along the lines of coaching. What sort of things was very helpful to you as far as coaching, and then what kind of got you into coaching?
Well, before we get into coaching, let's talk about, we were talking about this right before we hit record. You had friends getting in there, you guys that kind of lost the spark, the drive, the whatever. People were moving away from aviation. Hey, come do this. You said you had a plan. You wanted to do your, it was a veterans only maintenance shop.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to do. I got the idea just thinking about AOG, and I was like, well, who knows how to go rescue an airplane more than a bunch of aviation veterans? Down aircraft recovery. It'd be really fun to just hire a bunch of guys directly from active duty and kind of recruit that way to get supply and get AVI and sheet metal specific guys and kind of coach them help them get their AMP and transition into civilian life if they stayed with aviation and continued on with this AOG team. That'd be awesome. But if it just helped them get from military life to civilian life, that was kind of my biggest thought on it, was just helping them get it, figuring out what their new mission was.
Yeah, providing that environment, saying, hey, I worked AOG for a while with private jets and such. And I think what the drive with that is that I was still on the road. I got to see a bunch of stuff, almost different things every day, right? And every day was something different. It wasn't manufacturing. It wasn't you're on an assembly line doing the same thing over and over, day in, day out. At a different airport, different situation, different troubleshooting. Like it was kind of it was fun, right? And I think, talk about the AOG, providing that variety and that constant movement and change keeps people, oh man, I got this and I got to get out there because this is a revenue flight. And, if we do this, if I can knock this out tonight, if I hit a home run, that customer is going to be super awesome. They're going to hit their revenue flight tomorrow, and we just gained a new customer. when they see the overarching picture like that, right? You're not just a mechanic. You might not be part owner in the business, but you see from start to end and how that benefits you as the individual, but as the company as a whole, right? And you feel like you're a part of something, and that's your mission, right? You're not just a cog in the wheel. You're the entire machine.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought with a lot of my friends that I've seen that have, completely left aviation, that their mission was, we've got to get this aircraft from Washington State to its objective. We have a time hack of 24 hours to get this thing disassembled on an airplane, flown to where we need to go, reassembled, and mission capable in order to meet the mission objective that we are going there to meet. And they all thrived on that go, that pressure, that meeting of that mission, the desire to get something done that they felt meant something. And when that mission went away, when they got to the end of that contract and the daily red tape and bureaucratic garrison life really hit them, they decided they wanted to move on, and aviation just wasn't appealing anymore. It just seemed like too much work and not enough to meet their need for a mission.
So I sympathize with that, because I am sort of going through that scenario currently. Six and I have talked about this quite extensively offline together, but it's one of those where you said it perfectly. The red tape and the problems that we have, or I'm air quoting here, problems. They're not really problems, but people make them problems because we don't have enough to do operations wise. There's just not enough operations going on. There's not a target in mind. We're not hunting for anyone or anything. Your training, your sorties are primarily training for air crew, and you go, I have too many headaches for the amount of, or lack of job. What am I trying to say here? Job satisfaction.
Yes,
right.
I come from a pretty heavy ops background, totally mission oriented, whatever it takes, right? And you get your dick dragged through the dirt for long hours of the day and whatever else. But when you finally wake up on that pallet in the back of the bay and you walk in for the morning brief, and your chief gives you, hey, because of what you did, we were able to save some Green Berets, but also we found a training facility and we pummeled it into oblivion. You're like, yeah, hell yeah, fuck yeah. So now I was like, hey, we had to cancel that training mission last night. Why not? Well, we got a yellow fault code. Well, did we troubleshoot it? Well, no, we just decided to cancel it and then get engineering involved. What?
Yeah, the bird was circle red X.
Right. What are we doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's mind numbing. So I sympathize with your fellow comrades that are going through that, because it's very frustrating and demeaning and heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, when that was sort of what led to my transition from military to civilian, was just my mission changed, and garrison just got so ridiculous. I mean, I posted this comment on one of your guys' posts once about petty shit, and we had a master sergeant who took it upon himself during garrison time to decide that the hangar bays had too many trash cans. So I had been put in tool crib, and I was the system manager for the TRMS, the tool room management system, and they fed in PC, you're in a PC meeting to take all the trash cans and put them into the tool management system. So I did that. We had a GSE building that was probably about a quarter mile from the hangars. And I took all 30 trash cans from the entire hangar, stickered them, put them in the system, emptied them, power washed them, and then made a pyramid in the GSE building. And if you needed a trash can, it was going to be treated like a tool. You had to go out, go pick it up, sign it out in the tool room, take it to your bay, and return it the same day, or you got popped on the PC overdue tool list the next day and got called out in the production control meeting.
Nice. I'm laughing. I'm laughing with you, not at you, because we've all gone through it. I mean, just today, just the exact same scenario, except instead of a trash can, it's a popsicle stick for like doing layups. Like
the mixing sticks.
Mixing sticks. And then they had this. All right, brief the entire shop on what you did. I accidentally threw away the popsicle mixing stick instead of turning it back in. I was like, what are we? Is this what we're choosing to focus on? Like, what? We obviously don't have a mission if this is what we're chastising people over. I said it's not like the individual lost it within the aircraft, or it's a chance to be FOD somewhere. They had a mixing stick that was no longer usable upon completing the mixing. They threw it in the trash can. I said, okay, let's turn it back into support. What was support going to do? What do you guys do, support? We just throw it away and mark it in our system. Son of a bitch. Why don't we just mark it as being thrown away and discarded, and they replaced that bin location with an additional pop stick? Like, gun to my head here right now. You know?
Yeah, we had a similar situation with popsicle sticks and mixing cups. The soldiers were required for a while to bring in the cup with the half-cured Pro Seal or High Sol or whatever, and the stick, and we had to pull up their name, visually verify that the stick and the cup were used, and then mark it as waste before they could go put it in the haz waste.
Yeah. Yep. It's really mind numbing, and now you understand why you go, yeah, man, I'd love to come work at your shop if I wasn't trying to get away from it. And you go, man, why are I trying to get away from it? So, our listeners out there, we've all gone through it. Clearly, Madison's gone through it. Six and MBP have gone through it. Stig's gone through it. Fresh has gone through it. Everybody's gone through it. And you go, why do I continue to do these kind of things? And it's those little pockets of hope we all run into it all the time, or that one problem that you just resolved, like with the whole mixing cup thing. I put a better process in place, and now we don't have to do that anymore. We can use common sense here a little bit, and I was able to make this much easier on all who are involved with it. Right? It's those little pockets. Like, okay, that's why I'm driving. I helped somebody else. Who was having a worse day than me not have such a bad day. And, right now for my own personal, life, work life or whatever, because there is, at least in my mind, there's a lack of a mission. Maybe there's not. Maybe I'm too cynical with it, or I'm comparing it too much to past missions. But now I focus on the team, right? I focus on my team. Okay, how do I keep them motivated? How do I keep them nose to the grindstone and focusing on the mission? So I try to create a mission for them, right? Hey guys, here's our mission. And yeah, you have your days where everybody's kind of in a bad mood. Just let them shit talk. I let them vent to me, right? And it can be draining on your own soul a little bit by trying to absorb the hate from others. So they focus it on towards you, and you can help them fix it rather than spread it around. Because we all know, hate and discontent can spread like wildfire.
Oh yeah.
And you try to give them a mission. Well, hey guys, I know this sucks, but if we do this, if we can get this squared away now, that means we're going to save these other 10 steps over here. So I know it sucks up front, but on the back end, we're going to actually come out better for it because of X, Y, Z reason, right? So they might not see the full big picture. They're just seeing the part that they have to work now and going, this is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But your mission is to show them that their mission is, hey, you're actually improving process or improving the product or improving safety or improving turnaround time, mission readiness time, reducing maintenance hours and increasing mission readiness times and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. And I think I'm gonna kind of pigtail a little bit. God, I can't believe I said that shit. But so I'm gonna expand a little bit on what MVP said. Like when you have like a certain organization, usually it's big ones. When it's big ones, it gets a little bit more weird. Your mission statement for that company or organization, you can almost it turns into a lost cause sometimes when it's so broad, right? Like connect, innovate, inspire. Cool. For what though? And
yeah.
It's not
specific. What am I innovating? And who am I inspiring?
Yeah.
Those three keyword mission statements are always the worst. You can't really dial that down to the individual level very easily.
Right. And again, I get it, like, because you're trying to look at it from the top of the pyramid level looking down. You kind of want it to be broad. I understand that. I'm not talking shit for people who are extremely successful, who've driven their whole livelihood of success on just 3 words. By all means, go for it. But for the general layperson, which is us, we need a little bit more specifics here. Give us a little bit more meaningful intent. Like we're making flights to get people from point A to point B and do it safely. Solid. Yeah. You gave me a situation. You told me what's the end result. And you basically said, I leave it up to your innovative minds to figure out how to get there. Like, oh, fuck. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room to invent the process for myself or figure out a way to keep the continuous improvement cycle going. And that kind of goes into the fulfillment piece, as both of you have mentioned with resilience, is if I don't feel fulfilled in what I'm doing, then I'm just going to self-destruct or I'm going to self-sabotage. I'm losing my way, so to speak, because where every time I take a step forward, I'm violating some kind of line, or I'm stepping onto a sideline that I'm not supposed to be, but I don't see it, or I'm not fully aware of what it is. Like, hey, you guys violated this and that. Like, where the hell does it say that? Well, you should have known. Like, well, obviously I should have, but no one's told me otherwise. So how am I supposed to know it's wrong?
Yeah. That's like when you take the new guy out and you kind of just say, okay, this is your task. And then you come up to him and you say, I told you to do this, where is this? Where is your task? Why are you doing it this way? And the guy just looks at you like, well, you just told me to do it. You didn't give me any other direction. That's how how some of that really feels. It's like, okay, you're just sent out and told to get it done, but you don't have any idea how to get it done. And when you do it the way you think it should be done, you're now in trouble.
Yeah. Yes. So to add to that, right? I just this past summer was a rough summer for old MVP. And Six is well aware of all this, but I went through that same thing where it was like, hey, I want us to create a, my bosses, let's create a metric and track some of this stuff, and let's create another process for blah blah blah. I'm like, are we just bored? I think we are, right? We're just creating shit for no reason. Okay, I'm like, well, okay, what do you hope to get from this metric? You want to start gathering metrics on a specific area, but why? And what information are you really trying to pull? I don't know yet. Just put something together. okay, well, how do you want it to look? Do you want bar graphs? Do you want trend lines? Do you want all the above? And they're going, I just put something together. I just told you, just put something together. Okay, you'll spend days, weeks, even gathering data, putting all this shit into a presentation, and then you hand it to them, and they go, "What the hell is this?" This is what you asked for. This isn't what I asked for. I'm like, well, I guess you're right. You didn't really ask for anything. You just said you wanted something, but gave no guidance. So I did the best that I could with the little information I had. So we all know. So now we know that you don't want this. You still don't know what you want, but we know it's not this.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're just shots in the dark here, man.
Yeah.
And it's really, like you said, at those points, it's where you just where you go have a good scream in your car in the parking lot.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is what turned me into the guy who says, "I'm getting out 24 months from the end of his contract." I was that guy. 24 months from the end of my time on active service, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll see you guys in the civilian world." And I spent the last 8 months of my time not even at work. I was transitioning. It was that kind of stuff. I would have just turned in a picture of a clown and said, "Here you go."
Right. Yeah. And that's it turns into that soft quitting, which we've had an episode about or whatever. You get that where you lose motivation. You're going, okay, I've given you a product with zero guidance. And instead of saying, okay, hey, this looks pretty good, I think we can cut this out though, and this out, because I don't really care about those numbers, but I really like this metric you pulled. So can you shave it down for me a little bit more and hone in on that one metric? Can do. Instead it's this is garbage. Who the fuck did this? You way missed the mark. Try again, but still no guidance is provided. And try again, man. Not after you just shit all over me in front of everybody. Yeah. I'll try again. It's going to be a picture of a middle finger, is what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's like my section sergeant asking me to write my own NCOER.
Yeah,
my own evaluation.
Yeah,
write my own evaluation, so I can.
Yep.
So I'll look at it and see if I agree with it, and then I'll sign it. If I don't agree with it, you got to do it again.
You know what? That reminds me of a lot.
Or on the civilian side, write up your end of your review.
Yep.
I'm not going to review it. Just go ahead and write it up. I'll sign it off as I did it, and then I'll punch it through.
Yep. That's the same ways with some of our patrons that talk to us. They do the exact same thing with the yearly review. I think for the Air Force, they call it EPRs or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
EPRs. Yeah. So like a bunch of people that we've met said the exact same thing. Like, let me just write what I feel you're going to think, or let me write what you're going to think of me in a way that you approve. And then if you don't like it, I'll just do it again. Like, excuse me. And I see some guys like actually lose their minds about it. I'm like, oh, I got to write this eval correctly or else the boss won't sign it off. And then that's just more time wasted of my life. I'm like, that's not his job though.
How about this? Have you ran into this where you've put all these bullet points in your end of year review and then you get it back and they had taken off those bullet points, but then you've seen their review where they added those bullet points to theirs?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. I've ran into that too, where you're like, you son of a bitch. Like,
yes. And that kind of goes
exact wording too. Just copy paste it onto their own review.
Yeah,
yes,
it's exactly right, Matt. It was the exact verbiage. You're like, that's very interesting. I don't remember you involved in that project at all. And
I specifically remember you setting me loose with that and just saying, get it done.
And in one instance, I called out, I said, I don't believe you were involved in that at all, since it was only me who did that. And they're like, well, I told you we needed to do something like that. So technically, you wouldn't have done anything had I not said go do it.
Oh,
you're like,
okay. We're talking about the grandfather paradox now. Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
And so that kind of reminds me of like another resilience point, right? Which is self-regulation. When it means by self-regulation, it's not just yourself, but it's also your team, your small unit or your small organization. And one of the big points I remember specifically was stop counterproductive work. And maybe I took that to heart a little too well when they taught that to us. But I've seen some individuals who do a whole lot of round robin for next to no gain. I'm like, why? And again, this comes the question again, why are we doing this? Like,
Yeah.
I could understand if there's a gap that we need to address, or if there's a weak point that, or like we're testing for weaknesses or something like that. But if we're just doing it willy nilly because it's a way to drive hours, or it's a way to keep people busy, or what's another one? Another excuse we always hear, keep people gainfully employed or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, so what though? Like, if the job gets done using a good solid process or a good solid method, why are we trying to reinvent the wheel and do it all over again? Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, when there definitely are processes that need reinvented, but you get the classic, well, this is always how we've done it, so we're just going to keep punching the square peg in the round hole every time.
Right. That really just tests your mental elasticity right there, right? Like, how elastic are you?
It's just like that little TikTok where, you know, there's the box with the different shaped holes, and they just keep putting everything in the square hole.
Yeah.
we just talked about
this is a crescent. This is a half moon shape. You're right, and it goes in the square hole. Yeah. Here's a triangle. Where does that go?
The triangle.
The triangle. Yeah. Nope. The square hole.
That's right. The square hole. I remember that video.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I'm like, just because we make it work doesn't mean that's how things should stay. But you know, like you said, we find, and let's face it, right? Just what we're doing now, the shit talking is part of our resiliency. That gets me through the day. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, if I can't go to work and smoke and joke with my team, and maybe that's why Six and I have talked about this, maybe that's why it's taken me so long in my career to get to where I'm at now. Maybe because I clown too much, but if I can't have fun at work, I will be the first to admit to anybody, the owner of the company, that it's not worth me showing up.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have that camaraderie, man. If you show up every day and you look at everybody around you and going, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, you know, like, that's no good. You can't have that. So, you got to find those pockets of joy to keep that spark alive. And like you say, sometimes it's that one little thing where you help somebody else who is struggling through the day. It might not even been your project. You're just walking through the bay and you see somebody over there going, hey, what you got going on? Man, they got me, you know, cleaning out these trash cans. And then I got to put a barcode on it. And then I got to stack them up and I got to check out individual trash cans now. Oh my God, why are we doing that? I don't know, but that's what management does. Well, shit, let's at least have some fun with it, and let's label the trash cans a funny name in the tracking system, in the tool, you know, the computer system or whatever. Just stuff like that, you know, like you know, it makes it a little worthwhile.
Or you got like little nicknames for the trash cans.
There's still stuff in our tool management system that I put in there about 5 years ago that some of my buddies that are still at the unit tell me they can still sign out. And it's like, there's a wall plate for an electrical outlet that I put in as a training piece, and it's still in the system. Just because that was the kind of levity I tried to bring to the workplace. And, you know, it was my way of helping everyone else around me deal with the bullshit. And you know, we had a pretty lax workplace, you know, CW 4 and 5s that we spoke to by first name, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And now I'm hearing from guys that are on their way out that there's leadership in there now that culture is gone. That camaraderie and that ability to really connect with your superiors and foster an environment where people want to stay is no longer there.
See, that's
the
key word right there.
I think guys like us, right? We pick up that mantle and go, okay, if upper management is not going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep the team. I'm going to be the the person, I'm gonna make this an environment people want to go to. They still may not 100% like their job, and they may 100% hate upper management. But as long as they still enjoy coming in every day because of their, because of what I'm doing in this area, or what I bring to the table, and what, pulls the best out of everybody else to come to work. That's what I do. So that's kind of where I focus a lot of my efforts day in and day out. So I wanted to say that to tie in with your coaching, Madison.
Yeah.
I know you do the coaching, so kind of, run through like what you do to coach people to find that spark to stay motivated, to despite shitty leadership or shitty management, you still draw the team in.
One of the first things I really do when I sit down with somebody is I ask them why they chose, because specifically in the Army, at least, you can choose your occupational specialty. So a lot of these guys, they went to the recruiter and they specifically asked for a 15 series in aviation. And so I asked them why they chose that. And then I asked them why they wanted to put in the packet to get to the unit we were in. Because you don't just get assigned where we went. You are selected. You have to go through a process. And so you had to have a why. I try to pull out that reasoning and kind of draw a connection to something currently in their life and try to figure out what direction they want to go, whether that's staying in aviation. And then we can work from there as to what pathway they want to take, what a transition program that gets them their licenses on the way out, or going back to school, or, getting a job that doesn't require their license and then getting their license on their own later, studying for it themselves. But a lot of it is just, it's drawing that connection back to what got them there in the first place.
Yep. This is hitting a lot of light bulbs for me, because I remember MVP and we would sit down and talk to people like this based on all our previous training and our experiences and our positions as coordinators, as managers, as ops leaders and schedulers and all that. And that'd be something we would ask somebody like, hey, why do you want to do this? Or why are you here? And depending on the person, 80% would say, well, I just need money and I need a job. Okay, cool. We're getting somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why this job? Or why this amount of money, right? It's buried in there for pretty much everybody, and they know it. They just don't realize it because they're so used to just figuring out what the vessel is to get them there. Then why are they driving in that direction in the first place? What's the word? There's a phrase for this. The need behind the need. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like what? More or less, it's what's your why. But then what's the why behind the why? If that makes any sort of sense.
Right.
And then I'm glad you brought that up, because that kind of goes into like self-awareness. You can't build any kind of defense or resilience if you don't know what you have going, or what you're about, or what's your strengths and weaknesses already. Because
right.
You could have just fell into this for some odd reason. Like somehow, some way you just fell into a line and they say, sign here, process, get your license over here. Like, I thought this was the line to lunch. I didn't know we were going to A&P school, but whatever. I'm already halfway through. Let's keep on going. And you're already like 2/3 of the way in before you realize what's actually going on. Like, well, already 2/3 of the way. I might as well not turn back. But that brings up a very great point. Like, what are your thoughts? What are your emotions? What are your behaviors? What's driving you to do things? What's your methods for doing X, Y, Z? Big stuff.
Maybe you find that they don't 100% hate aviation or whatever. They just kind of are burnt out in their current position.
Yes.
Been doing it for 5 or 6 years, and all right, the mission's changed, or the leadership's changed, and they go, man, I'm kind of tired of cleaning labs out day in and day out. I'd like to get focused on engines. Oh, okay. So you're not You just want a change in duties, daily duties. Sweet.
Yeah.
You can make that happen, All right, let's get you focused on this. Let's work on getting you some engine certs, or they might go, hey, I'm kind of ready to get off the line, but I got a really good eye for, finding anomalies. Oh, have you ever thought about QA? Well, no, I've never thought about that. Oh, okay, well, let's focus on that. Or they might say, nah, I kind of want removed from the floor altogether, but I still really like the the paperwork side. Okay, well, let's get you into the forms. Let's get you into policy creation. Let's get you into the legal side of things. Let's get you into let's get you into sales or customer service if you're really good at talking to people,
Yeah. Yeah. And once you really nail that down for somebody, those are the kind of people that can really affect change, because they know that that's what they want. And that's kind of my mission too, is just get people to nail down what they want and help them get there, because we need that in every industry, and especially in an industry as turbulent as aviation.
Right. Well, they know that's what they want, but there's also somebody helping them get there, or pushing them or guiding them there, because maybe some people kind of have an idea, but they're afraid to take that step. Well, I've been doing this for so long, like I might as well just keep doing it. Well, no, man, you can do it. I can. Yeah. And here, let me show you how. Oh, and you can say, well, how could they not do it on their own? Well, you just Google it if you want to try something new. Just look it up. It's like, well, but some people aren't so comfortable with that. Maybe they want to talk to somebody who's got experience. I'm kind of that way myself. Like, okay, well, I'm interested in this, but I don't really know much about it. Well, you can read all about it online. Yeah, but reading about it and talking to somebody who's got experience in it are two different things,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's I really like to point people to their local airport when they're interested in aviation, but they have no experience in it. Like the dudes who go have coffee in the office at the local airport are the dudes who have the experience that you need. So go, and they're not afraid to talk about it. They'll talk your ear off for hours, because they are there because they want to be, and they like being there, and they want other people to be as passionate about it as they are.
Absolutely. And that kind of reminds me of some individuals who have expressed their frustrations, let's call that, with aviation in general. Like, I'm tired of working day in and day out like this. I'm tired of smelling like fuel. I'm tired of my hands being bruised, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we would say, like, well, like, what do you really like to do? And we're like, well, I still like planes. I just don't want to be rolling around in the grime and the grit all the time. Have you thought about engineering? Right? Or something like that. And again, I love that you said that. Like, I just want to help them find their drive and then aim them in the direction that best helps them. And MVP brought it up perfectly. He's like, maybe you just need like a mentor, or you need a direct, like, hold your hand coach. Sometimes we need that. Maybe not someone you pay, or maybe you do need someone you pay, because some of us are stubborn like that. Like, we don't invest in something until we know like there's some equity behind it that we could lose if we don't use it. Example is myself with a gym membership. I'm going to be completely honest with that. Like,
those are just those. I can't count on both hands and feet how many of my friends have gym memberships that they've been paying for years and haven't been to the gym more than once.
Okay, I'm not that bad. but it's only my methodology when I buy gym memberships is I try to find somewhere that's close to work or close to where I live, and then I would try to buy like the second most expensive package there, because my mind just works like that. If I'm going to invest the money to do it, I'm going to get my money's worth. Like, if it's $50 a month, I'm going to spend $50 a month in that gym.
Right.
Nowadays everything is a little bit limited, or it's expensive now because of all the way the economy is going now. So my mind now is investing towards like a home gym, like a Peloton bike, or just like a couple free weights, stuff like that. But some individuals are like that when it comes to their careers or their health, in whatever form their health is. Like you just need to have that that weight of loss that
accountability that comes with spending money on it.
Yes, that's it. That's it. I was trying to go for it. I'm like, what am I trying to get at here? Trying to simplify this. But
you say, okay, I got this coach, and they've set up these meetings with me, and they've tasked me with some of these things. Well, I better go and do my homework on these things for them, and then show up for that meeting to talk about what I found and next steps to achieve my goals. Well, if I don't show up to the meetings, or I show up to the meetings and say, sorry, I didn't research anything, what you got for me? That coach is going to go, well, I'm not going to hand deliver you into your position. Like, you still got to do some work on your end. I'm not going to
spoon feed it to you.
Yeah, I'm not going to write your resume for you and then apply to it online. Like, you've got to do that stuff. I can help you rewrite your resume and tailor it to your specific job, but I'm not going to go to apply to all those things and interview for you as well. Mm-hmm. But I can help you get to those directions. I just can't, it's like wrapping a gift. I got the paper all around it. All you need to do is tie the knot in the bow.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done several resume sessions with some guys where they paid me. I charged them almost nothing for it because I was just getting started, but they paid me for it and expected me to, take their old resume and reformat it and send it back to them. And I was like, no, let's sit down. I'll read over your resume and I'll tell you what needs to change to tailor it towards this position you're going for. And then you change it and show it to me when you're done, and I'll let you know what I think about it. And if there's more changes that need to be made, or, maybe and that helps them learn to be able to do it next time. So it's a one-time investment for the knowledge, but they can always come back to me for a refresher.
I'm not providing a resume writing service. I'm providing guidance on how to properly write a resume.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And how would choose, okay, what's your job you're going for? Oh, sheet metal tech? Cool. Well, you've got nothing in here that says you can do sheet metal. Have you done sheet metal? Yes. Oh, fantastic. What did you do? And go from there, Okay, put down everything you've done with sheet metal. Now let's clean up this verbiage a little bit. Make it sound professional, but it's one of those hey, I put in my debit card information and you're supposed to generate me a resume. Well, no, because I don't know you and I don't know your history, right?
Yes, exactly that. And that really strikes the point where it goes into I'm helping you strengthen your character, right? We're exercising these muscles that you haven't used in a while or you've never used before.
Adding a new tool to their tool belt.
Yes, yeah, exactly that. And I love that you guys are touching on this, because this is sparking so many ideas in my mind of how scenarios can pop up where someone will need this help, or they expressed it that they need something, but they don't know how to go about it. And I've seen the negative too, where people just kind of hand it to you and just say, okay, make me a zero fail product. I'm like, that's never going to happen. For one, nothing doesn't fail. And then two, I'm not going for the job. My job is helping you, which is what I'm trying to do. But I'm not going to, like you guys said, I'm not going to hit the home run for you. And then, because then they're basically interviewing what I know. And of course, they're going to love it because I know how to talk to them. And then here you come and show up, and then they realize, what the hell is this? Right?
You clearly don't match your resume. What happened here?
Oh, we could totally do a whole episode on that by itself.
I have a hilarious one from my contract. I was looking over submitted resumes, and I had seen my buddy's resume because I helped him redo it to move on to another contract. And we're sitting at the computers. I'm looking at the resume, and I call my buddy over. And I'm like, hey, do you know this guy? And he goes, oh yeah, I was at my last unit. I was there. He served with me in my last unit. I was like, did you give him your resume? No. I showed him my resume. I said, well, he turned in your resume and changed the name.
Wow.
That reminds me of that meme, right? It's like copy my homework but change the words around, and it's like barely a difference. It's like almost the exact same thing. It's just like maybe one or two words that are different. Like,
yeah, they changed the font from 11 to 12.
Like,
yeah.
Come on, guy. Like, do a little bit more.
Yeah, that guy did not get selected for the contract. I didn't even call him back. I was like, no, I already have Austin here. Your name is different, but your resume is the same.
Right, like verbatim. Like, I don't believe it.
So you also went to high school in whatever location, knowing full well that dude's from the other end of the country? You're like, oh, yeah.
Like,
okay.
Weird.
Weird. Anyways.
But I love that all. And then we kind of breezed on this throughout the episode. We were talking about connections, right? Like you as a connection as a coach, connection as a person, connection as building a team as a manager, as a leader, or as an organization. All that matters. And it kind of you touched on this quite a bit, MVP, about like having the ability to let loose a little bit in the workspace to kind of build that sense of teamwork. And that actually helps with the resilience. Having those strong connections, building those strong bonds, being able to joke around with each other when the time is appropriate, and supporting each other. That kind of stuff. If you can build something that strong in whatever kind of work environment, it's going to carry over to other stuff too. It starts getting contagious.
Yeah, I mean, think about back in your the heavy deploying days. I mean, it could be one of the worst deployments ever, but you're there with a good team. So it really wasn't that bad. When you look back, you're like, yeah, man, we were busy as shit and things were going bad all the time and getting shot at and whatever else. But you're like, man, but that almost was your most memorable and fun deployment because of the people you were there with. Mm-hmm. Right. And so you try to recreate that again. And then you guys get labeled as, hey, you're going to want to go on the road with them. So everybody starts signing up. Hey, can you put me on a trip with them? Can you sign me up with that? Because everybody wants to try to get in on that good crew, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I found my good crew. One of my good buddies, we were on a rotation together, and I think we spent the whole entire rotation talking airplanes. And then we came home and bought an airplane. And now between the two of us, we have 3 hangars and 8 aircraft that are in various stages of completion. And he's a big part of my crew that really keeps me rooted in aviation.
Nice.
I like that.
It's good to have that, right? And because you're on rotation, you found somebody with a similar interest as you, and you go, well, I can't let them down because they're depending on me to do this for their dream. Subsequently, that person's going, I can't let them down because they're dependent upon me to succeed in what they want to with my own, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm all about it. No, I mean, I'm wondering if like a lot of listeners like, okay, so I understand the need, I understand what you do. Like, how can I myself self-regulate, help build up my resilience before, like, say, like it's not bad, but it's getting there. So how do I have like some preventative actions to help me kind of maintain a little bit of elasticity before I have to reach out to somebody? You know what I mean? Like, well, what sort of steps can I take to kind of maintain what I have now, just so it doesn't start trickling down to somewhere I don't want to go. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And honestly, I pull from my therapist toolbox for that one. I have a safe space, as millennial and as crybaby as that sounds, I have a mental safe place where I go, and I know I can picture that place in my mind in its entirety. And that place is where I can just release everything. And no matter how bad the day gets, I can go to that place mentally and I can say, you know what? I'm gonna recharge and I'm gonna go find my friend that I have at work. It doesn't matter how terrible a workspace is. You're always going to connect with at least one person unless it's an absolutely toxic place. And then I'm going to tell him I'm having a shit day and he can tell me he's having a shit day and we can talk shit and get back to work.
Yep.
You know, you pretty much described our livelihoods in the workspace almost to the T.
That's exactly how Six and I got going with this. This is the safe space for us.
Yeah.
Well, before the safe space was our car, right? Like we were just we joked about this whole bunch of times, and we actually got a web comic in works with that exact mindset. Is we would be in the parking lot, we'll be right across from each other, and we'll just like stare at each other, like almost mad dogging, like, I'm not getting out of this car first. I ain't going in that off.
You walk in first.
The first time you guys said that on your podcast when I was listening, I was like, huh, sounds like my buddy. We would literally park next to each other at lunch and have our windows rolled down, just bullshitting. And then end of lunch would come around and we're like, all right, you go in first this time.
I went in first yesterday. Now you're going to go in first today.
Like, damn it. Damn it.
And then it turned from the parking lot into our office, which we might as well call the we always joked about putting a like an actual couch like they have in a therapist's office. We always joked about putting one of those in there. That was that space, and then that transformed into this podcast.
Hell yeah. Good times, man.
Our weekly vent sessions.
But you need that kind of stuff. Like everybody else out there, everyone listening, like as Madison said, find yourself a safe space, whatever that space is, either physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever, right? Find that one spot where you can clear your mind and set your goals straight. Whatever your goals are, like, I just want to make it through today. I just want to get to lunch. I want to hurry up and improve myself so I can get up out of here. Whatever the case may be, like, you got to have that step into making a goal. And you got to be able to call yourself on your own bullshit too, as we've all said, like throughout this episode. Sometimes you need some help with someone saying like, "Hey, yo, your left tail light is out." Oh shit, I didn't know, right? Or something to that effect, and that's going on with you. Like sometimes you're too in the weeds to see it, to know that it's happening.
Right, you can't see the forest through the trees. Right, you're your own worst enemy that day. Sometimes you just need somebody going, dude, you're being kind of a bitch today. I'm not being a bitch. I'm going to show you. And that just takes you right out of that funk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and then sometimes you're doing everything right. You're doing everything right by your own personal power, that you just got to know when to raise your hand and call for help, right? No one likes to ring the coach bell or the daddy bell or the mommy bell or whichever. But sometimes you just have to, like, I cannot do this by myself. I cannot manage this with the way the pace is going. I need someone to give me a hand. And it could be whatever. And that's where someone like Madison or us come in. We're like, you need someone to coach you through it, like formally or professionally coach you through it. Or you just need someone to just kind of kick you in the balls a little bit, like, which is like what we do. like, hey man, like, you might want to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Like, oh, you know what? You're right. Especially like it when
who's really good for that is I always, it's not really Six's sister, but I always refer to her as Six's sister. They served together or whatever, but she was the best for kicking you in the nuts and getting you out of that funk.
And then you'll thank her for it too, right? Like she'll just really wail you in. Like, appreciate that. As you're walking out, like, oh.
Just tell you to put your purse down and grab your balls or something.
Something like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
Basically, like,
to that
come up and like shit talk you to the point where you're like, what the fuck? This is all unwarranted.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. I just kind of noticed you're being kind of a real big bitch today. And I'm going to tell everybody you're being one. So unless you change, I guess everybody's going to know that you are one.
Yeah.
So catch you later, and then we'll just walk off. And you're like, I'm not that way. You're that way. I'll show you.
I used to if someone was struggling on a task, I walk up and say, "You need help?" They go, "Yeah." I said, "All right, if I get this, you have to call me daddy the rest of the day."
Heck no, right? They start rolling up their sleeves like, nope, not gonna happen. Nope,
get away. Put down the tool. I'm gonna finish it.
But sometimes, like your mental elasticity or your mental agility is just stretched so thin that you just need that kind of person, whether it be poking fun at you or actually professionally helping you. In cases like with Madison, we're like, let's write this down. Let's visually see this, visually actualize this, or whatever means is the most helpful. Let's call it that. The most helpful to you, and then you got to be able to self-regulate yourself to actually do it. Right. Example is as pointed out by Madison. We're like, I'm not going to do your resume for you. I'm going to show you what you should do, but you would be the one to do it. You got to regulate yourself to do this, because if you're just a returning customer with no gain whatsoever, like at some point, like you're uncoachable at this point. Like no one's gonna.
Yeah, well, if I got to keep going and changing this gearbox oil filter because for whatever reason you just can't seem to do it, so next thing you know, it's you never really learn how to do it, and it's me doing it every time. So you conned me into doing your job, and you're still dumb.
Yeah.
Right. If you're uncoachable, you're gonna get benched. I'm sorry. That's just what's gonna happen.
And that's the reputation you'll have too.
Yeah. You go, hey, what are we gonna assign them? I don't know. Assign them to the broom again. Like I got no need for them on the line.
Go mop the rain.
Right.
Yep. And we're not saying this like to demean you people. We're just saying this like you got to learn to accept stuff when people tell you the truth about you, and you also got to self-regulate yourself into not being defensive about it. Like no one likes to have shit talked about them when it's true. Nobody does.
Yeah.
I get pretty offended myself, not gonna lie, but you gotta be able to have that kind of bounce to realize that we're not talking shit about you to talk shit about you. This is actual gaps I myself or we see, and we're trying to help you get through it. Now, some might have some very questionable methods to get you there. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to give examples because I know they exist. But if we're going to do this in a professional setting, right, then it's like my example with the gym. Like, if you're investing in this, it'd be in your best interest to get what your money's worth out of it instead of just
right. Or it's one of those like, hey, I have no problem collecting your money from you. So if you want to keep paying me and you don't want to learn anything, so you're gonna be a returning customer, okay, sure, I'll take your money.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go, well, this doesn't seem like this is for you, so we should probably cancel this meeting and relationship, and you go all about your merry way. Here's your money back. If you're going to keep paying the monthly fee and refuse to show up, guess that's on you.
Yeah, I had a few Joes that got real strong before they got smart.
I love that.
That's funny.
That is pretty funny. So this is a personal question from us to you, Madison. As far as coaching is concerned, is there any sort of how to or training or whatnot that you feel will help people be better at coaching?
I don't. I'm gonna heavily lean on YouTube here. I mean, you can learn anything on YouTube, but at the end of the day, really, someone who's good at coaching, it's something about that person that just makes them really good at connecting with people. If you can learn how to connect with somebody and really figure out how to get their potential to come to the surface, that's really what makes a good coach. It's not about hand holding. It's about learning how to connect with someone and draw that potential out of them. And when you can learn how to do that, you can teach someone. If a good coach can get a fish to learn how to ride a bicycle.
Ooh, I need me one of those. I need
right?
one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You got to make the right connections. You got to be personable. You got to also people got to feel sort of a trust with you or a safe, type of, safety net with you, knowing that, you've got their best interest in mind and you want nothing more than to see them succeed.
Right. And coming back to your coach, MBP, your soccer coach that you always quote all the time on your episodes, that kind of person is a good coach. Not necessarily because you became a, world-renowned soccer player, but because years down the road, you're still remembering some of the things he said to you. Yeah. And you're applying that to your life. And that's what makes a good coach.
Damn, yeah, epiphany right there, man. Like,
it was an epiphany, yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even put together like the years down the road. I'm still quoting that. But yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. I mean, left a lasting impression.
Mm-hmm.
And
pretty neat.
That is neat. Yeah. And so like what we were saying about all of this, like being able to find a good coach, knowing who's a good one, having someone who can connect with you, and some of the lessons that I won't say they'll apply to everything, but they apply to a situation that when you need it the most, right? Or for some kind of scenario that you need it for the most. Madison MVP have given such fantastic examples about all of this, like with the soccer coach, with drawing out the why and the drive from all of you, helping you find a purpose. And that's really the essence of resilience, is you got to be able to have a good base, right? And it's not like some bulletproof armor that we just shield around you and people can talk shit at you all day long and it just bounces off of you. That's really not.
It's continually adapting and modifying, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're getting shot full of bullet holes. Okay, well, that armor wasn't too thick in that spot, so let's go ahead and re-armor that or upplate that a little bit. And then I noticed they don't ever shoot on the right-hand side, so maybe I don't need actually this much armor over here. And you just continually modify, adapt, and to tailor it towards your own specific goal or goals.
Right. Yes. And don't discount yourself too much there, Six. Not to inflate your head any bigger than it's already gotten, but MVP and I got to a lot of the points we've made because of things you pigtailed in, and there I go saying
it. It's contagious, man. I'm telling you, these words they exist for this long because they're so contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hate it, but it's so useful.
Yeah, it behooves you.
Oh, I just used that today.
It would be of you. But moral of the story, everybody, is like be self-aware of what you do and don't have. Know where you are and where you want to go. Wow, I just quoted a Moana song. Holy shit. Anyway, right? Know where you are, know where you want to go, and understand that sometimes you may need a helping hand to get you there. And that's where either informal or professional coaching or mentoring comes into play. Doesn't necessarily have to be something where we have to pay for a session, but if you needed to, there's people like Madison and us and other professionals out there that can totally help you out. And whatever that situation may be, right? Resume writing, like Madison has said, just shooting the shit with us, having that a little mental ego reset from us.
Yeah, vent session. Vent session, but with some help, constructive guidance on how to beat the day and don't let the day beat you.
Right. Yes. And at the end of the day, what's the goal for all of us here is we want you to know your why, find your drive, help draw that out of you, as Madison has said, aim you in the right direction, and just give you enough of a boundary line for yourself so you don't work yourself out of the pits or into the pits and then potentially cause a mishap for yourself or for others, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, reignite. Yeah, just reigniting that spark and reigniting that sense of self-worth and applying that worth to wherever you think it's most valuable to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna not gonna lie, Madison, when you messaged us and you've talked and you mentioned a lot of stuff like how we've helped you, that reignited our spark in ourselves, me in particular, because there are times when our day just drains the living shit out of us. And we take a look at the show itself, and there are times where like we don't get enough interaction as we feel we need, or we see we visit back some of the negativity that some people have said, or we see the progress of other people in other areas, and we start doing that side by side comparison for some subliminal reason, and then we hear stories like yours. I'm like, you know what, man, we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
Yeah,
we're
helping people.
We're accomplishing.
I'm glad I could help break you out of the imposter syndrome for the day.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. And I'm going to be honest, like with the title for that episode came up because I was mispronouncing shit all throughout the episode. It's like, right. Pasta? But again, you know, like finding that reignition to get yourself going again. It can be internal. It can be something external. It can be something you just never expected to happen. And then all of a sudden, wow, there it is. And then here we are again in the doing the do.
Yeah. Getting it done.
Get it done. Any final thoughts from anybody? Madison, any final thoughts for the crowd?
Just resilience. It's about finding that strength, but it's also about being flexible. You can make your armor as strong as you want, but if it's not flexible, you can't move. And if you can't move, you can't adjust course, and you're just going to crash into a wall. It doesn't matter how much armor you put on. If you crash into that wall at 100 miles an hour, burnt out, you're not going to get out of that crash. You're gonna get stuck. So you've got to have that flexibility to be able to change course when you need to change course, and have that strength to be able to utilize that flexibility. If you are too flexible, you're going to have just as many problems as if you're too strong, and you've got to find that balance.
Very well said. Very well said. MVP, like, yeah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, so my end, I would just say notice, be cognizant of yourself and notice when it's time to make that change.
Yes.
Don't sit in the pit for too long, right? Might not be able to see the sun anymore. Recognize when it's time to go. Yeah, I think it's I need to change something about my day, my career, my personal life. Pick one thing that you can control, and then start making incremental changes to that. Once you've got that to where you want to be, tie in, grab that next area.
Yeah.
One last thing before we head out, Madison, where can listeners and people find you?
They can find me on Facebook or YouTube at. Hold on. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
I think I just lost audio there.
Oh no, we still got you.
Can you guys hear me now?
I still hear you.
Okay.
We're hearing you through the lapel mic.
Okay. They can find me at on YouTube or Facebook. Both handles are the same. Remote AMT Alpha Mike Tango. I'm on there every day. I may not post videos often, but I interact with everybody as soon as they comment. I'm pretty quick to respond to messages. I won't charge you if you just want to like ask a question and maybe get some direction. My mission is not really, at the end of the day, it's to make the money, but really it's about helping you figure out where you want to go and how to get there. So I just reach out. I'm on Facebook and YouTube, and I have a website in the works, but it's not quite there yet. So,
well, we're pretty sure it will get there. And for all of Madison's people, you've by now have known us. Well, you can find us on all of our social media, on Facebook, Instagram, kind of sort of Twitter, but mostly Instagram and Facebook at Cancel for Maintenance. We're on Spotify, Apple, any and all podcasts, or anywhere podcasts are streamed from. And then we kind of sort of have a YouTube channel, but it's really just auto-generated from our Spotify platform. And again, we have the same mission, we have the same goal, the same mission, so to say. And that's just to help give you that, or help you draw your potential, give you that split seconds relief to make your day suck less.
and a platform to talk about issues you're having, and I'm sure you're not the only one.
Yes, very much so.
Help one, help all.
Yes. What's the saying? Rising tide lifts all ships. Yep, That's the one. Madison, thanks for collabing with us. I know this was very sprung up, but we pulled it together. We got a thing going, and we appreciate you taking the time out with us. And on that note, everyone, thanks for listening. We'll catch you all again next time. Sheesh.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. We would like to take this time to thank our patrons for supporting our show and allowing us to make episodes, maintain our gear, and create merch for all of our listeners. With special thanks to Erica Lamont, Chris Hawkins, Eric Shaw, Dan Schubert, Ryan Frushauer, Kyle Keir, Mike Sherwood, Caleb Stockhill, and Jennifer Brofer. Thank you all so much for your support and patronage. If you like our show, please support us on Patreon. You'll receive awesome perks like access to our private Discord, discounts and early access to our merch, first glimpse of our comics and other projects, and so much more. You can further support us and show off your prowess as an aircraft specialist by visiting our shop at cancelformaintenance.com. If you like classy or rugged watches, visit our affiliate Rockwell Time at rockwelltime.com. Use the code CX4MX to save 10% off your total order. If you have suggestions for the show or you'd like to be a guest on the show, send us a line on our contact us section at cancelformaintenance.com, and we'll do what we can to get both your ideas and yourself on the show. Please support us on social media like Facebook at Cancel for Maintenance, Instagram at cxmxpodcast, or Twitter at cxmxpodcast. Please check out our new comic series on the Tapas app. Like, share, subscribe, and comment on our comics. Let us know what you think. Thank you all so much for your support and listenership, and we will catch you all next time.